Welcome to the 43rd annual SCCA Runoffs. Last year in Showroom Stock C, Ryan Sachansky's Honda Civic had the start of the event. He started in 5th, and he started threading the needle immediately, stood on it, went around the outside of Joel Lipperini, and almost got around Pete Taylor's Mini Cooper. Not quite, and he slotted into the 2nd spot. At the next turn, behind the leaders, Jonathan Caledonia's Mazda goes off. That sent Justin Poole into the gravel trap and flipped the Honda Civic of Chad Gilsinger. That resulted in a yellow flag. At the checkers, it was Taylor with Sachansky close in hand, but not close enough. Taylor got himself a gold medal and an SCCA's Showroom Stock C national title. Showroom Stock C has always been a manufacturer's playground, and it certainly is again this year. And for Pete Taylor, that manufacturer game played out well last year. Late season switch to the Mini got him a national championship in Mid-Ohio. Now they've added weight to the Mini, but he thinks it's still the car to have, especially since it suits his driving style. But Joe McClugan has something to say about that. 14 races this year, 10 wins, and he has notched the last 4 poles and wins at Heartland Park. Local track knowledge may be the spoiler for him today. Then there's another car, it's the Honda Civic. Now that got a weight break at the end of last year, and Roger Shore decided, I'm going to go after a national championship with that make. He had a win and podiums this year. He's hoping to add a gold here at Heartland Park. Two-time gold medalist in this class, Joel Lipperini, ran the Mini at the Runoffs last year, but after the weight was added, he wanted to go back to old reliable and the Honda Civic that brought him gold in 2002 and 2004. He's looking for a 3rd one. Now, Bill Haggerty is also running a Honda Civic. He started in a Mini, but when you look at that tally, 29 wins this car has amassed over the years. He wanted to try for gold in his Honda Civic. The spoiler in this class might be Big Yeller. It is the Chevrolet Cobalt in the hands of 9-time champion John Heinrichsey. It's the first year for this car in the class, and John is hoping to extend GM's win streak at the Runoffs to 51 straight years. If it's racing, Speed Channel will cover it, and this is the Olympics of motorsports, the 43rd running of the Sports Car Club of America's National Championships. They call them the Runoffs. One race, the medals go to the top 3. And it is in its first year at Heartland Park, Topeka. Today's action comes to you with Showroom Stock C. Basically, showroom cars modified for safety only. The first year at Heartland Park, Topeka, Kansas. A beautiful facility, tremendous upgrades, and a future home for this great event. I'm Greg Kramer, joined by Dan Biggs. We also have John Bizignano and Mike Johnson covering all the action down in pit lane. And Danny, they've upgraded this track as well, recently repaved it. Take us around.
All right, down into turn 1, a lot of passing zones right in here. Turn 6, very slow, 40, maybe even in the high 30 miles an hour. Good passing zone into 8, and up through the S's here, you just need to follow everybody around and out onto the long front straightaway.
And it is a long one indeed, with a bob and weave approach to that first turn. Now tell us a little bit, Dan, about Showroom Stock C.
They're late model mass production cars. Very few modifications. They have to bolt in their roll cages and the safety equipment, and that's all they can do.
And then they drop the pedal, and rubbing is racing. We tend to see a bit of that here. Let's get down to the pits, find out what's going on. John Bizignano.
Well, there's a lot going on down here. They just blew the whistle for the 3 minutes. This is Alan Niami's car. He is a person that finished 4th in the championships last year in Mid-Ohio, and he's qualified 4th this year. He definitely wants to be on the podium, but one thing to watch during this race, guys, the 3 cars in front of him are all on Hoosiers, and he's depending on his Kumas to take him to the podium. Yeah, right now the temperatures are cold. Still, we're above that 40-degree mark, but I guess the softer compounds are going to be the trick. Let's go down to further down on the pit lane here to my pit partner, Mr. Mike Johnson.
John Sauché had this car at a 2:06.6 this September, holding the track record. Now the new pole is a 2:04.0. He's been trying the Runoffs 30 times. His best is a 5th. I asked him, how's he going to do today? He said, well, you know what? I'm going to go out there and win. And that's what he's done all year. 25 division champions. In the 10 races with this car this year, he had 6 wins and 4 second places, and even has a 4-leaf clover in his back pocket just to make sure. Back up to you, Greg.
All right, thanks very much, gentlemen, and it is promising to be a fabulous race. The temperature is still a little cool. We'll talk about that when we come back, and we'll also fill you in on who's going to be starting in Showroom Stock C. After, for many, a lot of testing, for most, 4 days of qualifying, it is now about time for all to run 18 laps to determine a national champion in Showroom Stock C here at Heartland Park, Topeka. A good field is here. We want to bring you that starting lineup. And as a surprise to some, the guy who won the national championship last year in his Mini Cooper ended up qualifying on pole again. They added weight to that car and everybody thought, well, maybe that's going to take away a little bit of the speed, but for Pete Taylor, wasn't the case. Pete Taylor did qualify inside of the front row. Joe McClugan outside of that front row. John Heinrichsey, a 9-time champion, inside of the second row. You got to watch him. Biz already talked about Alley, and Joe Lipperini, a 2-time champion, and some great talent even further back in the pack. And as we show you the rest of the field, we've got some guys that are back in that 11th through 20th rank that are very, very quick. It just, I think, shows how competitive Showroom Stock C is.
All the cars are virtually the same. The guys that have a little bit of tire differences, there's Cohams, there's Hoosiers, there's Goodyears, and that's the big story here.
Absolutely, and let's get back down once again to pit lane. Biz, what's happening?
Well, you know what I like about this class is many of these cars you would think of them as almost economy cars. I mean, my gosh, look, you have a Mazda 3, Honda Civic, Dodge Neon, Mazda Prelude. These are cars that, you know, really aren't built for racing, but the manufacturer has done a great job in their engineering, and they want to show it off. These guys will be driving the wheels off these cars. They're not economy cars today. They're full-blood race cars. Let's go down to Mike.
Let's talk about the temperature down here. Right now it's about 46 degrees, but the temperature is rising. Some of the warmer temperatures we've seen over the last few days. SCCA has granted these guys actually a second pace lap to give them a little bit more time to hopefully warm up these DOT tires. They're not racing slicks like you see on some of the other classes. These are basically a street tire. They have grooves, but they are designed a little bit more for racing. So hopefully the drivers out there are going to take this extra lap and the advantage of that to actually get these tires as warm as they need to be for that very important start. Up to you guys in the booth.
Well, Mike, and another thing to be thinking about, Dan, is the fact that the 2 previous races here, we're talking huge temperature differences in what we're seeing here.
Right, it was really warm in the other races that they've had, you know, earlier in the year. Now it's 50s maybe. The track temperature, I don't think it's gotten to 60 yet this morning. You know, these first 2 laps are really, really important for these guys to get the tires cleaned off. And the other deal is the other classes that have run here are putting down different rubbers. So we'll have to see what happens.
We'll have to see what happens. Yeah, and that temperature swing, the Labor Day weekend here was over 100 degrees when some of these guys came trying to get a little track knowledge, and of course that's changed up completely now. Field working through this last turn. Pace vehicle is in, and we are looking for the start. That is Taylor, the Mini on the left, all yellow. The blue and yellow car on his right is the Mazda 3 of McClugan. That is your front row. And here we go. The green is out. Boy, that Mini from the back popped out very aggressively. I think that was Fred Pignataro. We'll see how that plays out. It is Taylor leads him away. McClugan slots in the second. Heinrichsey, who qualified third in the Cobalt, takes that spot up as well. And then 2 abreast, 3 abreast as they come through the spot called Alpha, and now down into the first turn. A lot of compression here, and some guys running wide, everybody running wide. Somebody is off. You see Heinrichsey, he had an off as well. He's got damage.
Yeah, big damage, and look at all the cars everywhere.
A lot of cars torn up.
Man, 5 or 6 cars torn up. I don't think they saw Heinrichsey on the inside there, and it looks like he got a little bit loose, and man, they banged up a lot of them.
Absolutely. I can't grab the number of that all-white car that also has some damage to the nose, but for Heinrichsey, his chance to go for a 10th national championship has been pretty much stopped very early in the going. There's the other car. That is the 81 of Joel Lipperini, a 2-time champion. Here's a look at it from another angle. Heinrichsey made the big move.
Yeah, he was down the inside, got on the curb, and then, wow, he ran right into McLuhan. Spun around right in front of the Mini there. A lot of damage.
I believe that was the Mini of Pignataro who got that big move early. Sure it was. There's the red Mini.
Yeah, he just had nowhere to go. Right into the side of him. It looked like he pushed him down the road sideways for a little while.
And Lipperini got into the right rear quarter of Heinrichsey and pushed him here. Watch this. Heinrichsey's the yellow car. There's the first hit, and there's Lipperini.
Yeah, he tried to avoid him, and just no place to go.
So what's that? Between Heinrichsey and Lipperini, that's 11 national championships, and not going to be improved. Although Lipperini, he's got the cow catcher now out front, but he's going pretty quick.
Yeah, it looks like the inside of the bumper's laying on the ground there. We're going to have to be careful somebody else doesn't run into that. That looks like heavy metal there.
Yeah, Lipperini now is going to be dropped back. Right in front of him is the 32 Mini of Porter, and Porter qualified a little bit further back than we normally see him do, back in 11, so that's the area. But here is our lead battle, and it is still Pete Taylor, your defending champion, leading, with McClugan right behind him. And when we talked to McClugan a little bit earlier in the weekend, he was very, very confident of that Mazda 3 being able to get the job done. The guy who's right with him right now is 41, Roger Shore. And Roger qualified back in the order just a little bit in 10th, but because of all that conflagration, he's in 3rd, and he's looking at maybe trying to make a move down into 1. Now we got a worker getting the debris off track, but we were thinking that Shore might be able to make a move, didn't get it done, as McClugan obviously defended nicely, but Shore is showing some good speed early.
Yes, he is. That's a big jump. You know, they were 3, 4, 5 wide. He just made the most of it, and now he's up to 3rd.
Again, Shore qualifying back in the 10th spot, so a great start for him. He was on the pole at Mid-Ohio in 2004, and as I said earlier, he had a pretty good run. Meanwhile, some battling in the 6th spot, the 06 Mini of Tom Start, and Lipperini has lost that piece of bodywork up front, so that's no longer an issue, and he is moving up again. A quick fight back up through the pack for Lipperini. That should put him into 6th.
Right, it puts him into 6th. I'm not sure he's got the best handling car now, but he's just trying to maybe get to the podium. I'm not sure if he can get to the top 3.
Well, if there wasn't any mechanical damage to the front end, I don't think in this class the aero is all that crucial.
No, it's not. They don't have brake cooling issues. They don't have the radiators wide open, as you can see, and it looks like the Mini's got a lot more power down the back straightaway here.
Well, again, the Mini gained some weight this year. The Honda Civic lost a little bit, which, as you can see right there, the Civic able to get in under the brakes a little bit better. Lightweight, obviously, you don't have to slow the mass down as much. You can go a little bit deeper.
Yeah, all these turns, there's 14 turns here. It's a big deal. Lightweight, good on the brakes, hit your line, and he's able to pull away a little bit in the twisty bits.
And remember what Biz was talking, or I think it was Mike was talking with Saucier earlier, Saucier earlier. He is now 5th and is making good on his claim that he's got a chance to just come up and win this thing. He's really putting a good run together in the 32 of Porter. Once again, as I mentioned, Ralph qualified 11th in that Mini, and he is already up to 4th. There he is, just coming in, the nice lime green numbers on the hood of his Mini. There's Taylor leading overall. McClugan in that yellow hooded Mazda right behind him. And then the 41 of Shore of the Honda Civic with Porter very, very close indeed as they head up over Alpha and down into turn 1. And that is Saucier sitting in 5th right now. Taylor clipping the inside a little bit, some debris up on the track. These showroom stock cars will do that all race long. And Porter and McClugan have opened it up just a little bit in the early going here in Showroom Stock C.
Most of us would agree that Jim Eli has a very exciting life away from the racetrack. Jim, tell us about your life as a helicopter pilot.
I'm a helicopter pilot for the Department of Homeland Security. I fly patrols along the border of the United States and airspace security over Washington, D.C., places like the Olympics and the Super Bowl.
Well, I got to ask you, what do you take from the cockpit of the helicopter into the cockpit of the race car?
Oh, it's the preparation of the car, the preparation mentally, and the concentration required to drive the car.
Jimmy, flying very fast here on the ground in Kansas.
And he is currently running in the 9th spot. Well, I tell you, going from Hilo to Neon and running them pretty quickly in each case. Jim Eli doing a nice job. Moved up smartly, qualified 21st, so definitely on the move.
Yeah, he's moved up quite a bit of spots, about 7 or 8 spots. Looks like he's in a little zone there by himself.
Yeah, this class used to be pretty heavily populated by the Dodge Neon, and now there's only a couple that are running in this class, and he is one of those and doing a nice job. Meanwhile, Taylor continues to lead McClugan, then Schroer, then that little gap back to the 32 of Porter, and I think I saw Haggerty taking a run at Porter for 4th. Watch as they come through here. No, he tucked back in. That red Honda slotted back in. And that was, that is not Haggerty. That is the 31 of Saucier having a great run again in that Mazda 3. Very similar car, well, exactly the same car, basically, as McClugan running in the 2nd spot. But every time they get a run down the straight, you see that Saucier right there closes it up a little bit, and that car works very well in the corners. When I was talking to McClugan earlier, he said one thing the Mazda 3 does very well is it transfers weight in the corners. And you can see he gets through those corners, shows the nose, ooh, and he realized Porter was going to come across and hit the brakes. Otherwise, that would have been a little hit.
Yeah, he left him a little bit more room than maybe he should have or could have. I don't know. But the Mini looks like it pulls out a little bit on the straightaways, and the Mazda gets right back on him in the corners. We'll see what happens here leaving.
And the problem there, you see, there's the run as Sauché gets the run on Porter. But the problem for Sauché is not far back. Right there, that blue Honda Civic Si is Sam Ryan. And Ryan has joined that group. So basically, we've got a 6-car battle for the lead right here. Just a couple of car lengths in between a couple of them at this stage. Nothing between your leader, Taylor, the second car, McClugan, the third car, 41 Schroer, and then that bright line, number 32 Mini of Porter. And boy, did he get a run on Schroer coming out of the exit of what they call the bus stop. Long run here into the fall-away off-camber turn 10. Porter pops to the inside. He's going for third, and not enough. Schroer just shut the door. Porter checked up, and here comes Sauché. That'll give him the inside, and Porter realized he was had and backed out of it.
Yeah, you can tell offline it's really dirty, and he got slip sliding away. That's a really tough place to make a pass, and he got it by.
Song lyrics in your call. Boy, you are a multi-talented, faceted guy. Porter coming through now. That is going to move him up into the fourth spot right now. Check that. That is going to move Sauché up into fourth. Porter slips to fifth. Now we'll see if Sauché has anything to take a run at Schroer, McLuhan, and your leader, Taylor, at this stage. There's the 41 of Schroer up and over that sort of quick left climb, right fall away down into turn 1. And again, boy, they are using the curb and more.
Yeah, they're not being very friendly to their fellow racers, dropping wheels off, and makes it tough to race back there.
Well, look at Sauché, all 4 wheels off at the exit of turn 2. And you saw McClugan run wide there, and it cost him 2 car lengths. These classes are so close. Any loss of momentum is extremely, extremely painful.
Off the track.
We are at Heartland Park, Topeka, Showroom Stock C under contest for SCCA's National Championship Runoffs in the early going, but we have already had an awful lot of action. Up front, it is your defending national champion, Pete Taylor, and his yellow Mini Cooper is leading this one from the pole. And even after that little bit of a drop of momentum for Joe McClugan, he has gathered it back up and has come back to within a car length of Taylor. They have opened up a little bit of room now to the 41 of Schroer, and right behind Schroer is the 31 of Sauché, and that great battle that is about to build, I think, for third, because Sauché is on the move.
Yes, he is. He's really hitting his marks. His car looks really fast through the tight stuff. Looks like the Honda pulls out a little bit on the straightaways, but the Honda's like blocking almost there. Pretty wide line.
Well, again, that Honda runs a little bit lighter than it did last year, so it obviously accelerates and brakes just a smidge better. The Mazda 3, the handling is its strong suit, and for the Minis, they're running much heavier, but they have pretty good power because they're running that supercharged engine, and they go.
Yeah, and if the weather being cold, the supercharger really likes that. It shoves in that cold air and makes big power.
There they go again, up into this very sort of technical first turn complex here, up over that rise, down into turn 1 and then 2. And you can see through there, Schroer actually opens it up just a little bit this time.
Yeah.
And here comes Porter.
Yeah, they're not even using the track there. They're inside the bumpers there on the dirt.
Yeah, they are using it and more, obviously, to do a little off-roading here. This is the carousel, very long left-hander, and you just keep driving it till it starts to push and then let it get the nose back down a bit, and you can see 41 Schroer swings wide, cuts back over to set up for 5. I love this complex of turns here, Danny, because if you're really quick through 4, oh, and there is a very loose moment for McClugan. He saved it, but there goes that momentum we talked about. Schroer is by, and I would think Sauché is going to get by as well, so one mistake costs you 3 spots.
Yeah, and we've seen that in that section before. Guys make a small mistake, lose 3, 4, 5 spots, and they're so hard to get back. Wow,
but Sauché, he just totally butchered turn 7 there, got wide.
Yeah, maybe he saw him at the last minute and just left some room. I'm not sure why he left so much room.
That's going to trap him on the outside going into the bus stop, which should solidify that for McClugan. And Porter tried to show the nose in the Mini, but realized, nah, that was going to get clipped pretty hard. He got out of it, and right behind him now is that blue Honda of Sam Ryan coming after Porter, and that is in the battle right now for the 5th spot. Mike?
Yeah, down here with Bill Lyon. Bill, your driver started in 10th place. Now he's running all the way up into 2nd. You guys make some changes before the race?
another set of tires, little pressure change, kind of getting used to the cold weather. That's kind of been a shock for us, so to speak.
Now, did you have to make adjustments for that cold weather, or?
Pressure-wise, yes. Anticipate what our target pressures are and try to get there. Excuse me.
Oh, well, he's trying to get back to his stopwatch and see how his driver's doing, because he's right now in second, hoping that he can catch the leader. Let's see. Do you think he can actually catch the leader?
I think he's going to try awful hard. I believe he'll do it. I don't know whether he'll get by, but he's going to be right on his bumper.
All right, well, Showroom SCCA, always bumper-to-bumper racing. You know, these guys are from Ohio, so they're used to being at their home track.
Absolutely, and Sauché coming in there in that fourth spot, locking up, heading down into turn one. Oh, and McClugan again, pushing too hard, runs off, and open that door up, and here comes Sauché, and he's got the inside going into that long left-handed carousel, and that is going to give Sauché the spot. But boy, McClugan comes right back after him again, and he's bringing Porter along for the ride. Well, this battle for a third right now is superb. Taylor's got a little bit of a margin over Shore, who in turn has a little bit of a lead over this battle, but this one is spectacular.
Yeah, and Ryan's caught back up. I think McClugan going off there is giving Ryan an extra shot, and he just missed the corner big time. In turn one, he went off on the right side of the track, got dirt on his tires, and I think when he just turned in there, he just slid straight off the track.
Sauché wasting no time, ducks underneath and picks that spot up, moves back into third. McClugan in fourth, so the two Mazda 3s running in lockstep right now with Porter in fifth, Ryan in sixth, and Joel Lipperini has made it back up to seventh. As a matter of fact, behind that blue Honda Civic, that is Joel. And I was talking to Joel, and he said, with the corners on this track, you mentioned how slow you are in turn six in these front drive cars. He said they're running a tremendous amount in the back of the car of toe out. Why?
Toe out makes them turn on the gas. If you get loaded up and you don't have toe out, the thing won't turn by itself, and that's what they're trying to do, make it turn from the back.
All right, and Pete Taylor continues to lead Biz, and right now he's got a little bit of breathing room finally.
Well, he might have some breathing room, but Dave Thoker, his crew chief, is telling me that he's not even sure that Peter knows that anyone's behind him. He concentrates so hard on the cars or on the space in front of him, and we're just going to wait just until he comes by, because Dave wants to make sure he gets the accurate time on him. Almost constant lap times, 100% accuracy on lap time so far.
He's been real consistent. Tires have come in pretty well. He's just hitting all his marks and being smooth and clean right now.
He hasn't said a word to you on the radio the entire race.
He's real focused, and he's just letting me do the talking.
So are you telling him about the gap behind or not?
If it's worth telling him, I tell him. Right now it's not worth saying a whole lot.
Not worth saying a whole lot. He's got this mini absolutely set up, guys. There's a lot of confidence down on the pre-grid with this team.
Well, John, like I said at the top of the show, he told me that even with the weight, he wanted to run this car because it suits his driving style. And obviously, comfort and confidence in the car is everything to a race driver. And he is giving it an absolutely incredible ride right now. He has opened up a margin as the battle for second now is starting to get interesting. Taylor is drawing away from the field. And when we come back, we're going to get you up to date on that great battle for second. Welcome back to Heartland Park. We're in the Showroom Stock C National Championship. Here's what's unfolded thus far. At the start, the pole sitter, Pete Taylor, led, but John Heinrichsey, a very over-optimistic move, involved two other cars and damage to both his car and Joe Lipperini's car as a result. Here was a big move for fourth as the red Mazda of Sauché got underneath the Mini of Porter and picked up the fourth spot. Then number 36, McClugan, who had qualified second and dropped back, lost a little bit of momentum, and Sauché taking advantage there and finds himself now in third. So a good charge to the front by Sauché, and we go back to live action on track, and there is Pete Taylor. And there's the margin. You see the nose of that Honda behind him of Shore. That is the gap right now that Taylor has over Shore.
Yeah, 2 seconds back is Shore. Taylor's just hitting his marks, concentrating on what he has to do, and he's pulling away.
Here's the battle for second, and Shore now feeling tremendous pressure from Sauché in that red Mazda, and the number 36 of McClugan, who qualified outside of the front row and has had his share of moments here, still in the mix in 4th. Then it is Porter in 5th. And Soche, boy, he gets out of that first turn incredibly well. Has every lap, ducks underneath the 41 of Schroer. Schroer going to try and stay with him around the outside. They are side by each through the carousel. And, I think Schroer, well, maybe he's got it. What a piece of driving by Schroer. 31, Soche tries to squeeze him. Schroer squeezes back. They bump again. Schroer hangs on, but boy, not without some serious pressure from Soche. And here comes McClugan, but he is going to be trapped on the outside heading into turn 6.
Hey man, Soche's car is really good off those slow corners, and when he gets blocked up like here comes McClugan down the inside.
McClugan looks, this is pretty much a flat-out blast through this turn, but if you get stung on the outside like that, you're fairly even here. Now, look at this. Is Porter going to try an outside move on McClugan? He's there, but I don't think he's going to be able to pull it off unless he's got some magic line. No, he gives it up. Smart move here to set up through here. McClugan was trapped a little bit to the inside, may have lost a little momentum on the exit, and this is, tell you what, right now, our leader is loving everything going on behind him because all this battling is slowing them down just a little bit. And look at this move here. Schroer just absolutely refusing to give way to Soche.
Yeah, Soche just got a little wide now here. Got dirt on his tires. He can't really fight off the Honda here. The Honda's a little bit lighter, shoots off the corner. Then he almost loses another spot there by McClugan.
All right, so now we have the 41 of Schroer has hung on to that second spot. But as I said, all of this dice and cut and thrust has them running a little slower than they would be by themselves, and that benefits Taylor. And obviously now Schroer, although he is second, has lost just a little bit of ground. We're going to give you the update when he crosses the timing line, and the margin has gone up to just a little over 3 seconds. So that lap alone, just that little bit of battling, cost these guys a second to the leader, Taylor.
Yes, it did, and Taylor is just set the fastest race lap, so his tires are obviously coming in right now.
All right, let's get down to Mike.
I'm down here with Judy Fouts, who's a great friend of John Soche. Now, you're normally up in timing and scoring, but you decided to come down for this one race. How come?
Brewed him on.
All right, does he have any more crew, or where's his wife and crew right now?
His wife went somewhere else on the track. She may be at the motorhome, I'm not sure. But she has communication with John by radio.
Now, the best finish she's ever had is a 5th. Right now is 3rd. Do you think maybe she just went off and hid so that she's getting too nervous?
No, this is normal for Sandy.
Okay, no, but you look very nervous yourself. You look very excited.
Well, John had always said that once they got the runoffs here, he was going to make the podium. And right now he's in 3rd place.
All right, well, he's got that 4-leaf clover in his back pocket, so, maybe the luck is going his way today.
Well, he had a pretty impressive season. 6 wins, Soche did, on his way to winning the Midwestern Division. So he certainly knows how to win. But Roger Schroer right now really liking what that Honda's doing. But now Soche shows the nose down into the bus stop. But moving offline like that, what a lot of guys have told me here, Dan, is that if you're running similar lap times to somebody else, it's very tough to pass going into the bus stop without grinding by.
Yeah, it's very hard to pass there. The track's dirty offline, and it's just hard to do it.
And that's why the competition is so intense here at Heartland Park Topeka. Pete Taylor continues to lead Showroom Stock C here at Heartland Park Topeka, the 43rd annual running of SCCA's National Championship Runoffs. And you can see the 43 of Taylor's margin and nobody behind him as he uses up all the track and more. But where he's not running wide is that key exit of that second turn that leads into that high-speed carousel. And that's where a lot of these other guys have put wheels off and cost them dearly. At this stage, though, 41 Schroer and everybody behind him pretty smart through there.
Yeah, they're trying to hit their marks now and just keep the track as clean as they can. It really messes the tires up when you drive off the road. And Taylor's been doing that and just driving away.
You can see how tight Soche exit that carousel way down to the left side of the track, setting up for a good run into that next right-hander. Schroer with that lighter car swings out, comes back across, and still is able to set up for it. Then there's that bright yellow hooded Mazda 3 of McClugan, then the lime-numbered Mini of Porter, and then here is Lipperini, and what a drive as he has gone by the number 70 of Sam Ryan. Lipperini has fought his way back, sans nose, to 6th. A great drive for a two-time champ.
Yeah, he's had big damage, lots of parts falling off his car, but he hasn't given up, and you know, he's up into the top 7 or 6 now. It's a pretty impressive run from being back at the accident at the start, and he was 10th or 12th.
It is. It's a great run, and he's a guy who's an ice racer. That's what may be helping him here in these cold temperatures. He's comfortable throwing that car around, Mike.
Nicole Cooper, his crew chief, John Liberini's crew chief for over 16 years, but you're actually a financial analyst. Now, when he comes to you and says, you know what, I think I'm ready for a new set of tires or a new engine, what do you tell him as a financial analyst?
Well, my opinion always differs from his. He's a marketing guy. He likes to spend the money. Luckily, we have Hankook for the tire scenario, so it's only the engine scenario that we have to deal with. Yes, he doesn't always take my advice, though.
Now, did he tell you anything about that start? I mean, when he got all those positions?
Yes, he had a very good start. We got a good green, and unfortunately, somebody lost their talent in turn 1, and he was a victim of it, but he's still going strong and turning fast lap times after half a race.
All right, well, we hear that a lot about running out of talent, but the other thing that we hear running out of is he's without a front bumper, and maybe that's the loss of weight might be a contribution to some of his speed that he's got right now.
Well, and you know what? That's an issue in tech, too, because in showroom stock, the weights are very, very important, and we'll have to see how that plays. Now, sometimes the stewards will say, well, there would be a performance disadvantage, obviously, without having the more aerodynamic bumper, and we'll see what happens. But my question is what kind of money she's going to be willing to give up to get that bodywork replaced. Sounds like that's a real interesting scenario building there. Let's go back and show you what happened to Liberini, and it all came down when really John Heinrichs, far too optimistic move, hit McClugan. He got loose and got right in front of the Mini, and you can see Liberini's white car got into the back of Heinrichs and just ripped the nose right off his car, Dan.
Yeah, it's amazing that he didn't get more damage. He just was hit from, or ran into the other car, but nobody from behind ran into him, so it looked like it didn't really hurt his car handling-wise for the rest of the race.
And look at this, as Schroer has slipped way back. Saucier and McClugan have both gone around Schroer right at this moment, so big development. Let's see if we can see it. This is down in, ooh, did he get help?
No, it looks like he locked up the brakes.
He locked up and skated, didn't he?
Yes, he did. He just a little bit too deep in there and lost 2 or 3 positions here, it looks like. Looks like at least 2.
Well, and you can see all that junk flying up in the air, and that's what you talked about, Dan. If you get offline here, it's slippery.
Yeah, and you can see now he's back with Liberini and Porter.
So he has dropped back. He is now 4th, and that means that Saucier and McClugan have moved up a bit. And the question is, can anybody catch the fleeing Pete Taylor? Pete's looking awfully good right now.
Showroom Stock C has always been a very competitive class here at the SCCA Runoffs. Sometimes the results aren't even released until after the race is over and the cars are going through scrutineering. Sam Ryan's one of those drivers, but the real story here isn't necessarily you, it's your daughter who already has a testing contract with a top Formula Car team.
Yes, it's a lot of fun. She's picked it up very early, and it's competitive, but remember, it's a family sport, so you have to bring the whole family along. She enjoys driving the car at the track, and we take them to all the races, and so she can have some fun and be involved with it also.
Well, she started at 18 months. Now she's 3 years old. She's got a lap down pretty good. Is she as faster than you already?
I'm afraid so. I'm hoping she has a long and bright career in Formula cars, and maybe can do more than me, but we enjoy it.
All right, thank you very much.
And we started really young, as you can see. My son started racing when he was 4, so.
Hey, obviously you want to get him in there. By the way, that is an actual deal. She is a certified test driver for the Kid Racer company, which builds the Kid Racer kiddie cars, a company run by Oscar Kowaleski, who's had some success over the years in road racing.
Yeah, he's raced Porsches and all kinds of crazy cars.
So, boy, they started him young, but you see how far upstream she was looking? She's got it figured out already.
Yeah, missed those cones just perfect.
Yeah, nailed the line. Absolutely. Having some fun. Dad right now is running in 7th in that blue Honda. He just fell victim to Liberini's charge back up through the pack. Here's your leader, and there's the margin. So right now, Taylor looks to be exchanging that yellow hood for a gold in just a few laps here. He's looking very strong. There's Saucier, who with everything that's been developing lately and with Schroer's moment has picked up the 2nd spot. He's still got McClugan behind him. Here now is the battle. Schroer, that number 41, the blue Honda, dark blue Honda Civic, sits in that 4th spot. Porter is right behind him. And look at Liberini, who is closing up big time And once again, Joel said they really had dialed, as we talked about, toe out into that car to get it to rotate in these slow corners. And I really think that is paying off big for him right now as it gets that back end to swing around. He can feed throttle early and is working his way up through the pack. And Porter now coming after Shore. He moves down to the inside. This is for fourth. And there's the power of that Mini, and he gets by. Now, the question is, does he hold off? Yeah, he gets over in front of him, down into turn one. Some lockup in front right now, and then right through that dirt, debris, junk, rocks, everything else. You can see the back of Lipperini stepping out big time.
Yeah, he's doing everything he can to get every spot. Another second or so for Lipperini, he'll be in the top 5.
Feeding into the carousel now, that Mini with those lime numbers swings way out. He's diamonding that corner quite a bit. Schroer in that blue Honda, and then that white number 81 of Lipperini. They take the traditional line through it, and everybody's in lockstep right now. But I think Lipperini's clearly quicker than these two. But as the old adage goes, catching and passing are two different things.
Yes, it is. It looked like the Mini just tries to square off the corners and leave, and then Lipperini and the other Honda are being really smooth.
Meanwhile, just in front of them, Saucier and McClugan, the two Mazda 3s. The red is Saucier, McClugan is the blue and yellow. They're having their own little battle for second right now. Saucier, you know, one moment you look at it, he's got 2 car lengths. The next moment you look at it, it's a half a car length. It just depends on where you are in the track at the time. The same cars, but we heard the talk, you know, changing tire pressures. I mean, that plays a huge role, especially in cold weather and you're trying to get temperature in the tires.
Well, you're trying to play the game of, do you want good tires at the end or do you want them at the beginning? And obviously you want them at the end, and it looks like, you know, Taylor's hit it really good. It looks like McClugan is maybe a little bit quicker than Saucier right now.
And McClugan has certainly been aggressive, Biz, and sometimes that cost him, but he's fast.
Well, we're talking to Susan McClugan, who's actually crew chief, manager, and chief mechanic for her husband. Susan, let me ask you, does he have anything left in that car? There's only a few laps to go.
I think so. He's going to be saving it for the last 3 laps. Even if he makes it to second place, he'll be thrilled. But he would love to see the championship. Every driver would love to have it.
Very best of luck on the last few laps here to go, Susan.
I think so. He's pretty aggressive driver, and he just likes going for it. So he's going to get in there.
Best of luck. Interesting interview, you guys. I have to tell you, Susan is 90% deaf and was reading my lips during that interview.
Wow, that is incredibly impressive. And she mentioned that Joe is aggressive. Take a look at the bodywork on that car. There's wrinkles everywhere and a lot of tape. That means if it comes down to a shoving match, he's going to go for it.
Yeah, and that's how these classes are. They, you know, they don't wreck each other, but they rub side to side. Some action here.
This is the battle. That's 41 Schroer in the white car just leaving his Lipperini, and it came to tears. And you can see some more bodywork laying on the track. That may have been that piece that was flapping on Lipperini's car, and he grounded off on the side of Schroer's entry at this car at this point. Obviously, we didn't see it happen, but contact clearly.
Yeah, and he's losing spots. Now he's back to 13th or 14th, so he's, you know, maybe get to the top 10 if he's lucky here.
Meanwhile, Pete Taylor continues to just have things all his way up front. 6 seconds clear of Saucier and McClugan in their battle for second as we're winding down to the last few laps of Showroom Stock C. Welcome back to Heartland Park, Topeka, as we're getting ready for the last couple of laps in Showroom Stock C here at this 43rd SCCA National Championship Runoffs. Pete Taylor continues to lead. He built the margin to about 6 seconds the last couple of laps. That's pretty much been there as his times have backed off just a smidge. He's been able to run low 205s. Last couple of laps he's settled into the low 206 range, and that's about what that battle behind him has been running. There you see Saucier, and then it goes way back to Porter and then McClugan. So while we were in break, a big change as McClugan dropped from third, and a very close third, Danny, back to fourth and a distant one to Porter in the Mini.
Yeah, McClugan lost 3 seconds on that lap. We're not positive what happened there, but he's 4 seconds back now, and I don't think he can catch back up to Porter.
Well, as his wife said, he's an aggressive driver. We've seen him be willing to run the car off the track just a little bit, and maybe did that again. There's the crew chief for our leader. Looking at those times, this time Taylor comes by. It's a 2:07.5, so he's backed off even another second. The margin has come down now to 4.8 seconds, but clearly that is Taylor controlling the lap.
Yeah, he's just hitting his marks, trying to, you know, a couple more laps here, and everything will be all right. I'm sure his crew chief's telling him, hey, you got 5 seconds at the bank. Just be smart here. careful with traffic and keep going.
Just back off that one little bit just to not make mistakes. And there again, you see heat 2. That's the line we see the minis drive wide in and trying to diamond out. Is that a factor of the weight?
I think it's maybe a little factor of the weight, but they're trying to make the straightaway as long as they can. Get that engine to make as much power and dig off those slow corners.
Out of 4 into 5, just a great technical complex. And here is Liparini, and finally, that great run has come apparently to an end. He was running very strong, but then we saw him in that moment with Schroer, and I wonder if that contact maybe wasn't just enough to do finally some sort of damage mechanically underneath and not just aesthetically to the car. And he's in talking to the crew, and they're down looking underneath there. He may have holed something in the radiator engine, something along those lines.
Yeah, it looks like the radiator's definitely pushed in. It looks like there's some left front suspension damage, and the fender's all covered up over the wheel there. It's just a rough day.
Well, a 2-time national champion in this class switched back to his trusty Honda and was spectacular, certainly. And the first incident, at any rate, was definitely not his issue. Here is our battle for 6. Right now, the 06 is Tom Start in that white Mini Cooper. And right behind him is number 7, Bill Haggerty, who we met at the top of the show, who switched back. He started the season in the Mini, elected to go back to his red Honda Civic. Felt that might be the better package here, and he's obviously giving it a great run. But again, they've done a great job in balancing these cars for this class, I think.
It looks like all of them are pretty close. The Honda looks, good in the very slow corners, good on the brakes. Through the S's, it looks decent. The Mini just pulls off the corner just a little bit better than the Honda.
And you see Start throwing that Mini around some of these corners here. This is that section, turn 11, 12, 13. I call it the autocross. Just very, very hard right, hard left. And really the quickest way to run that is just go apex to apex and then set up for this last turn and get that drive down the straight. And Haggerty got a good run out of 14, but there you see the strength of the Mini starting to ease away a little bit.
Yeah, as the tires get older, though, the Honda might pay off. There's only one more lap now, so he's going to have to really make a big charge here. And it looks like he's trying it.
Again, in that when it gets a little twisty, he definitely is able to close up a bit. Gets through turn 1 very smartly, and out of 2, we'll see what happens. And then, of course, the way that the Minis have been driving the carousel might be a chance for Haggerty to try and, if he was a little closer, he could have tried to just stuff it down the inside, but not quite here. Meanwhile, we are on our final lap at this stage, and last time by Taylor, again, was running a high 206, so looks like he's pretty comfortable as we watch this battle continue for the 6th spot.
Yeah, you can see the Mini throwing a little dirt on him, and through 5 here, the Mini's not as good as the Honda. Through 6, it looks like they're about the same, but the Honda squirts off the corner, or the Mini squirts off the corner. Right here, you can see what happens. Oh, got a good run there, but I don't think he's got enough for him. The Mini's really good down here.
Look like the Mini knew he didn't get a good run off that corner and exited therefore mid-track to dissuade Haggerty just a little bit. Just looks like it may have worked.
Yeah, just take his line away, and he knows through the bus stop he doesn't have anything for him.
All right, into that chicane they go. Meanwhile, into the last sequence of corners comes the number 43 of Pete Taylor. He is the defending gold medalist. It looks like he may have done a brilliant job of doing just that. Defending that, bringing it home once again onto the front straight. The number 43 Mini Cooper that qualified on pole, sponsored by Hoosier Carbotech, has done it. Down the front straight he goes, and for the 2nd consecutive year, Pete Taylor brings his Mini to a gold medal. He bought that car 2 weeks before the runoffs in Mid-Ohio last year, a year of development, and with that, again, suiting his driving style, boy, did it pay dividends.
Yes, it did. It looks like he, really likes those Hoosier tires, and
we're going to go back, take a look at that battle for 6 onto the front straight. Start still there in the Mini. And there's the power. He draws away just a little bit from Haggerty, and he will indeed hang on for that 6th spot, with Haggerty getting 7th. Saucier did get the 2nd, or the silver. Porter, a great drive to the 3rd. McClugan and Ryan round out your top 5. We'll be right back to Heartland Park. Welcome back to Heartland Park. Let's get right down to Victory Circle with our showroom stock seat gold medalist.
All right, back-to-back championships. Pete Taylor, great run.
Thank you very much. I tell you what, this car was wonderful. We knew we had to get out front and just let the field chase us, and we kind of figured there'd be some carnage behind us. Worked out really well.
Well, that carnage worked out great for you. A fantastic run. That's 2 in a row for Pete Taylor.
Well, I tell you what, when it comes to driving minis, he is spectacular and very, very effective. Let's take a look at our unofficial results. Taylor, Soche, what a drive, coming from 8th. Even better still, Porter up from 11th. Just an incredible run. And then, of course, we had all of the action behind it, a number of great battles. And, of course, as Pete alluded to, some of the carnage that helped him out there. Schroer, Lipperini involved right at the end there. Heinrichsey, a bit of a mistake, really, for John in the early going there, and really cost him a shot in that Cobalt. But he's running a bunch of different classes here this weekend. We'll see a lot more of John Heinrichsey. So just an incredible race, and as we suspected, Danny Binks, it was a barn burner.
Yeah, just a wild start and a lot of bumping and grinding the whole race through.
But in the end, it was Pete Taylor who was able to put together another superb drive and earned his second consecutive national championship. Speed's awful happy to be able to bring you this 43rd running of SCCA's National Championship Runoffs. For Danny Binks, John Bizignano, and Mike Johnson, I'm Greg Kramer. Thanks so much for joining us here from Heartland Park. There's a lot more runoffs to come. Hope you enjoy all the coverage here on Speed Channel. And to our Showroom Stock C National Champion, Pete Taylor, very well done, my friend.